People want to be entertained. No one wants to be given a piece of information, told how to wear their retainers or rubber bands or whatever, but they want to be entertained, and everyone lives on their cell phone. So that's the best way to communicate to people if they're constantly on their cell phone is through these video campaigns.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Raving Patients Podcast. I want to remind you about our sponsors, both Dental Intelligence and the Doc Sites, allowing me to come to your inbox every single Friday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern Time with a new episode. I also want to remind everybody about my event in September called Supercharge Your Dental Practice. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona, September 27th and 28th. I'm looking forward to having my second event. Last year's in Delray Beach was amazing, and this is going to be even better. 13 speakers talking about business, marketing, leadership, and money. So check it out at superchargeyourdentalpractice.com, and you can use the code RAVING, RAVING, to save $100 on your registration, which is already significantly discounted because I want to fill the room. So my guest is Janelle Baum. Janelle is an orthodontic influencer, and we're going to be spending time talking about social media. She's not just your average professional. She's also a certified clown and a sharp improv actor. Her mission is to help companies smash through barriers, enhancing patient compliance and team communication with her signature fun, quirky approaches. Please welcome to the Raving Patients Podcast, Janelle Baum. Janelle, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you. That was a great introduction. Drop the mic.
You can tell you have a lot of flair and flavor to yourself. You obviously love having fun. I've already gotten that from the time we've spent together. Thanks for finding the time to meet with me today. Expand on your bio a little bit. I know you're a clown. I know you help offices with office culture and social media, like I said, but expand on it a little bit, and then we'll jump into the content part of the seminar.
Absolutely. So my passion comes from 7 years of being an orthodontic treatment coordinator. And when I first stepped into that role, I was very intimidated by it, like most TCs are. I was trained very well, but I felt like every consult was just a transaction and just a number. My doctor was great. He trained me well. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm not thriving. I don't feel like myself. So I had to go back to my old roots, which is theater and improv and clowning. And I said, you know what? I'm going to turn these consults into an experience. It's all about that patient experience that's going to get more same day starts. It's not about the cost and things like that. So I literally just had a change of mindset, and I changed every approach to that consult, from how my girls in the admin team handled the new patient phone call to all of the types of videos and messages that went out to those new patients and the new patients' parents before they even stepped into the consult, really introducing myself, the doctor, the team, the products, and the cost. And then the appointment itself was nothing but an experience. It was a show. And that's how I performed a show every hour on the hour from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And patients left there in awe. And I was always taught by my mentor, make friends and make money small. And that's what I did. So my conversion rate went sky high. And during that time, I also became obsessed with creating relationships with not just the parents and the patients, but also these vendors and sales reps for all the companies that we had products and services for, which really helped me create this well-rounded, atmosphere in the orthodontic space.
So I know that you help offices a couple of different ways. So just before we get into the content portion of it, let's talk about the ways that you help orthodontic offices or dental offices in general.
Yeah, one of the things is I can help streamline different ways for doctors or any business owner to really help enhance and improve client communication, patient communication, and compliance with patients. So many times as a TC, I had explained to an adult patient what the Invisalign attachments were used for and why they're there. 6 weeks later, they'd come back, get their Invisalign on, and look at the doctor and be like, what are these bumps all over my teeth? And the doctor would look at her and be like, Janelle, I'm pretty sure was blue in the face telling you about the importances of these attachments, which made me realize patients don't pay attention. They're sitting there for an hour, yes, being entertained and pulled into 20 different directions with me, while also being informed on their treatment. But at the end of the day, they're not paying attention. Most of the time, they're just worried about, how am I going to tell my spouse I just took $6,000 out of our savings to pay for this? Or how am I going to pay for this? So that's where I help doctors or any business owners really improve that communication and the compliance when they're in treatment with what I call video campaigns. So it's very short form video. It's not made for social media. It can be hosted on social media, but it's messaging that you send to a patient after they leave the consult, after they sign the agreement, after they started their appointment, halfway through their treatment. You can't forget about them while they're in treatment. It's not just about the do patient show and the start show and the debanding show. It's all the way through. And there's communication videos that can go along with all of that. I, of course, coming from a theatrical clown improv background, spice it up because people want to be entertained. No one wants to be given a piece of information, told how to wear their retainers or rubber bands or whatever. But they want to be entertained, and everyone lives on their cell phone. So that's the best way to communicate to people if they're constantly on their cell phone is through these video campaigns.
Oh, that's really interesting. So you're recommending that offices make, I don't want to say a performance out of it, but then rather than sending generic stuff, use them as the help and create the content that they're able to send to the patients, talking about the various stages that they're going to be going through from the start through the deband process.
Yep. And they're short. They're about a minute and a half. Some doctors are like, Janelle, I'm terrified in front of the camera, or Sally over here is socially awkward. She's not going to be able to get in front of the camera. I've got tools around that. You can use type it on. So you can have a voiceover. You can just scan some of the items and things like that using patients' mouths, all the things. There's so many different ways than having just a talking head in front of the camera.
Well, it's interesting because, I talk in front of audiences all over the country. I'm in front of audiences, as many as 1,000 people, and I have no problem doing that. You put a camera in my face and I have a hard time getting the words out. It's a very interesting phenomena because I'm getting better in front of a camera. But I still like using teleprompters as well. So, there are so many teleprompter apps now that you can use on a phone or an iPad or a computer while you're recording, and they don't even know necessarily because it's such a small, you're not reading big lines, you're reading something very small. So that's always a great way for offices or practices or doctors, team members that aren't the most comfortable. I'm sure you can use that as well as an opportunity.
Yeah. And I even say have fun with it as a team. It should be open, communicated throughout the entire team. This isn't just something for the doctor to do or the treatment coordinator to do. Make it a team incentive. And I even say have fun, be authentic. If a doctor is awkward in front of the camera or a TC, whoever, create a blooper reel, send that to the patient and say, hey, we were going to send this. This is your information on how to take care of your aligners, but enjoy the blooper reel. It just humanizes the doctor in the office and letting them know, hey, we're real people too. Most of the patients that get that blooper reel are going to look at it and be like, oh my goodness, this is great. I don't know how they would have done this in front of the camera. I couldn't. And then it just makes it normal, makes it authentic, and makes it real. And that is what helps enhance relationships when you have moments like that.
Well, I think just in general, I think that's the way most people should handle their social media, and they don't. They hire a company, they're posting things that they're totally generic content. That's zero. This day and age, that may have worked 10 years ago when Facebook came out, but this day and age, you cannot do that. If you want to have a following on these social channels, you have to create unique content. You have to give a reason for people to tune in and want to get the content rather than just posting a picture that it's Earth Day. Nobody gives two craps about that.
I could spend a whole podcast talking about this. You are speaking my love language. I absolutely love it. No one wants to look at a stock image of someone that's not even the doctor, not even the patient, not even a team member, and have nothing but text-heavy information. Think about if you're listening to this, what do you go to social media for? Are you like, oh, I can't wait to sit back and look at all these strangers and that are just stock images and text heavy? No, you're looking at fun content. You're sending reels to all your spouses and husbands and wives and friends and listening to TikToks. It's short form video content that is today's social media world.
Let's talk about some of the content we wanted to get into. That was a lot of improv there, just so you know. We hadn't planned that part. But let's talk about the ways that you recommend about cultivating a vibrant office culture. So there's obvious things that you recommend and the way you assist offices, but talk about how you cultivate a vibrant office culture.
Well, to be honest, it starts at that new patient phone call. When a new patient calls the office and they want to schedule an appointment, I train admin team members to not just answer the phone and act like they're collecting demographic information and sounding like the boring DMV, because studies show that people are going to the orthodontic consults. They're going on like 2.5 consults. Okay. So if they're calling your office and you're just, hello, Sally Smith. Thank you. What's your name, date of birth? Here's an appointment time. And they're hanging up and calling the next office. Guess what? If they get someone who's been trained by me or any of the amazing consultants out there, they're going to be trained on creating a relationship, establish it now, but also edify the doctor, edify the team, edify what makes your office stand out, but also throw in there that you are a social media heavy office, and social media is going to be part of your treatment plan and part of the digital workflow. That's how you have to change your mindset as a doctor and team members, that literally social media is part of the world. It's part of a big piece of your business. So you have to put it out there. You got to advertise it. You can't just take photos and post to it. You got to start talking to your patients about it and setting those expectations up. Now, if you do get someone who's like, oh, I'm not on social media. TikTok is for the China government, blah, blah. Okay, document it, but let them know. Be transparent. And if your office isn't the office for someone who doesn't want to be on social media and doesn't care, have those conversations. It's okay. So it just started at the new patient consult and just edifying them and preparing them what to expect. And then before a patient even comes into your office for a consult, I train treatment coordinators to make customized and personalized intro videos to send to all new patients, letting the new patient know what to expect when they come in for that consult. If a patient already, voiced over that new patient phone call that they want braces, not aligners, voice that, show the typodonts in this 1-minute video. And then if you have their insurance coverage verified, explain, hey, your insurance, we verified that you have $2,000 coverage. We're going to deduct that from the cost of braces. What does the cost of braces cost in our office? It costs $6,000. Now, trust me, I get some pushback from doctors and they say, what? You mean to tell me I should tell this new patient the cost of braces? They're going to come and spend an hour in our office and you to talk about braces and you want them to know the cost before they come in? Yeah, that's what consumers want nowadays. They're so used to that instant gratification with all the, online buying apps. Why is ortho or the dental office any different? Now, of course, there's going to be disclaimers everywhere saying, we can't prescribe treatment over the phone or in this video, but the cost of braces is this much. If we get in your mouth and there's restorative work or your bite is off, there might be more of a cost, but patients understand that. And the reason I do this is as a TC, I couldn't stand when patients would come in and invest all this time, sending this video and them coming in to then saying, oh, okay, we're going to go shop around. It's like, dude, or they would say, okay, we're going to go home and talk to our spouse. I create these intro videos that explain everything they need to know before they come into the consult. So those spouse conversations are happening 1 to 3 days before their consult when they're getting this video. That's why I had a 98% conversion rate, because of transparency, personality, relationship building, all that. So those are tools that really help enhance the office culture. Once they come in, these patients are pumped. They're primed. They know their hair's done. They know they're going to be on some sort of social media content. Most of the time, I get on the phone with these parents and say, hey, can I talk to Billy, your son? Hey, Billy, are you on TikTok? Okay, make sure you follow us. But in the meantime, look for some fun skits we can do. If the child is shy or the mom or the parent is shy, then I do some sort of testimonial where I'm just super chill and saying, hey, you want to be YouTube famous? I'll put you on our YouTube page. Now, was my office, the office I worked at, YouTube famous? No, but these kids going on YouTube, to them, they're YouTube famous. What do you do after you film that? You send mom the link to the YouTube page. You tell her, hey, send this to all the grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends. Your son's famous. Send it to your son. He's sending it. Phew. Social media gold. It's that easy. That right there is the experience that parents are going to walk away from, and they're not going to shop around. And if they do, they're going to the next office that sounded like the DMV when they called, and they're just transactionally going through the consult. They're just normally getting their photos and records and diagnostic photos and all that done. Where in my office, it was nothing but a whole theatrical event, making photos fun, getting the patients involved, siblings, friends, you name it. It's an experience.
It's interesting you talk about that, because a lot of practices struggle with this, and, getting, especially for a pedo or an ortho office where the kids, would love to do something like this in most cases and then talk about it and tell their friends about it. I mean, just that word of mouth is a great way to get more exposure for a practice. And I don't want to say it's going to go viral necessarily, but at least you have, and then look, going viral and having people in China or India or Russia see what you post, it doesn't do anything for you. You want people locally to see it, and because that's going to give more potential patients to come into the practice. That's what this is about. So I'm a huge fan of that. I know how busy it is running a practice. So unless they have someone like you in the practice who is so tuned to the social media side of things, it's very difficult to get this going in some practices. So how do you recommend, if they don't have a Janelle Baum, how do you recommend that they either find one, or how do you recommend they use their resources in the office to be able to do the things you talked about? It's not hard. It's just finding time.
So they do need to have someone that handles their social media, because you do have to be consistent on it. You just can't post once and then expect there to be a bunch of new patients to call and never post again until 3 months later. They need someone in the office to be their social media person, or they can outsource it as long as they're the ones filming. If they, I'm sure some office out there has to have, if it's not a Janelle Baum, that's crazy off the wall, Fruit Loop in a world of Cheerios type girl, they've got to have someone that's outgoing with a cheerleader personality that can literally create these kind of moments. I can give them all the templates and the scripting and coach them through it virtually or in office, but I guarantee there's someone in their office that one of the examples that I always like to teach team members to do is when you're in an orthodontic office, all the chairs are set up. What does an orthodontic office look like? It's very open, right? Half the time, these patients are sitting and laying in the chairs, waiting for the doctor to come. What are they doing when they're laying in the chairs? They're sitting on their cell phone. Most of the kids are on Snapchat, Instagram, or TikTok, right? So what do? I train these team members to go up to these patients and say, hey, Billy, I see you're on Snapchat. Is it okay if I do a quick takeover? It's going to take no more than 2 seconds, and I'll give you a $5 in Buffalo, New York. Tim Hortons is a popular coffee shop. So I would say to them, offer them an incentive because everyone loves free gifts and say, all I want to do is talk about our office and how you're a patient here. Is it okay if I do that? And because of that, I'll give you the Tim Hortons card. What do? I show the team member to literally take the kid's phone. Most of the time, kids are like, yeah, you can be on my Snapchat. Okay, I'll take $5. And I just go on their cell phone and I'm like, hi, I'm Janelle from so-and-so Orthodontics. I've got Billy here. He's got these cool 3D shaped, fun shaped braces. He's got them here from Dr. So-and-so. If you want to be cool like Billy, then come to our office, check us out, follow us, and make sure you tell them you saw us on so-and-so's Snapchat. Then we say, can we send it to all your friends on the story? The kids are in awe because they feel so cool. They feel wanted. They feel liked. They feel popular. They send it. Phew, that's social media gold. Now, a Janelle Baum, anyone can do that. It doesn't have to be me. Anyone in the office that has an outgoing personality that thrives in customer service experiences, that is nice and bubbly, cheerleader type approach, can do that. Doctors, there's a bunch of cool doctors out there. They can do that. And then for my kids are 12 and 13. They see that for the last 7 years, were like, Mom, I saw you on so-and-so Snapchat again. People are talking. It was the number one most popular office in the area because people were talking about this kind of stuff. That's what kids talk about. This is what makes them thrive.
That's great. I mean, you've got that personality and it obviously worked great for you. I can see just as your example you just showed. I know we're just improving here somewhat, but the example you just showed is amazing how you just get up there and start, hey, can I take over your phone? And the kids are, of course, going to do it. It's a great way to get the word out in a different format. It's so much different than what we're traditionally used to from a marketing perspective. It costs you absolutely nothing other than the $5, Tim Hortons gift card you're giving away or any Starbucks or anything. But that's all it costs to practice. And that's basically free marketing you're doing, getting the word out to the people who are probably your target audiences, the kids, because they're going to need braces at some point. So brilliant marketing. I haven't heard that before, but that really, really sounds an amazing opportunity. So talk about it from a different perspective, social media as a growth engine for dental practices. So let me preempt this by saying, when I was in practice, TikTok, Instagram, all these things weren't as popular as they were now. Now these social media forums are a great way to get some momentum in generating new patients. So when I was talking about social media, it was basically posting stuff in your practice. It was very basic stuff. You weren't doing videos back then. And I thought social media was not a great way to attract new patients to the practice. So I was somewhat antisocial from a practice perspective. As time went on, it's becoming more and more important to be on the social channels. So you now have ways that you can really use social media to grow a practice. So again, I want you to talk about social media as a growth engine for dental practices.
Yeah. Well, number one, social media is turning into a search engine. So often, no matter what age demographics, a lot of people are going to either TikTok, ChatGPT, Instagram, and typing in, do braces hurt? Braces around me, types of braces. People are learning from all sorts of different content creators, other doctors, other offices. So what can your office do to help educate your current patients and potential new ones? If you want your current patients to be super compliant, guess what? You've got to get them involved in your social media. So that's what it was something I always push on doctors too. If you can't stand how patients are not wearing their rubber bands or not wearing their aligners, well, guess what? That you have to hold yourself accountable as a doctor and as a team. The piece of paper that you're giving those patients, that's getting thrown in the back of the van the minute they get in the car. So get them involved to make some content. Use their mouth to show patients how and why rubber bands are important. Once you post that to social media, now your current patients are going to be super compliant because they're going to constantly see the stuff in their feed from your office. Plus, that patient that you just used in social media, they'd be damned if they came back 6 weeks later and didn't wear their rubber bands. They were just part of the advertisement. They were part of your marketing plan to wear rubber bands. And if they chose not to, that's going to be silly. That will never happen. So it's if you use your own patients in their own healthcare, it's going to improve their compliance. Plus, new patients coming in, so often people were like, oh, I didn't know you had those types of braces. Oh, I didn't know you had that financing. Oh, I didn't. Well, how would they know? It's not like we're posting all of this over billboards and television commercials. You got to dump that stuff into social media to educate the people around your area and your current patients. And those are things that when a new patient would say to me, oh, I don't think we're going to start treatment today. Billy's really nervous. It's going to hurt. If you have content on your social media on showing that braces are literally just placed on with glue, Billy's going to know and understand, oh yeah, that patient isn't crying, screaming. They're not put under. They're not numbed. They're not crying. They're not bloody. You're right, Mom. It doesn't hurt. That's where I, as a treatment coordinator, had all sorts of links saved on my computer to say, oh, Billy, you're nervous about your braces. Well, here, watch this 30-second video of a kid younger than you getting on braces. Or I would take these patients in the consult room, and it was something I talked about at Morning Huddle. My team was very good about understanding it. And I would say, hey, I'm going to go film Sarah over in the clinic. She's getting on braces. Do you want to come see behind the scenes? I go up to Sarah and her mom and the team and I say, hey, I'm just filming some social media content. I've got a new patient here who's really apprehensive about getting braces. Is it okay if we watch? Meanwhile, new patient mom and new patient both have their cell phones going. We've all signed photo release forms. It's like the paparazzi. The kid getting the braces is like, man, this is cool. Again, creating an experience, right? The new patients are there with their mouth open like, this is what happens when you get on braces. This is easy. Go back into the consult room, sign the agreement, do some social media content. Now I've got new patient mom's video of her behind the scenes, the new patient's video, the start patient's video. I've got all this content that I can dump into social media and use it whenever. So it's a great tool.
That's a great tool. 100% so. Let's switch gears, and talk about video campaigns for enhanced patient experience. I know everything is kind of somewhat interconnected with some of the other stuff we talked about, but specifically innovative video campaigns for enhanced patient engagement.
Yeah. So this is really to help with holding patients accountable with, being compliant with their treatment and to keep that communication open and clear. So when a patient signs an agreement with me and they're not able to start treatment for 6 weeks later because it's something custom made that has to be made in the lab, we have a video that's already pre-recorded, and it's a video of my doctor explaining, hey, thanks for joining our office. I see you're going to be getting Invisalign. Hey, just as a heads up, the day you come in for this appointment, and we're again reiterating what that patient should expect on that start appointment. Okay. That's all we're reiterating. And we're saying, congratulations. My doctor never really felt super, super comfortable in front of the camera. Over time and my peer pressure, he got accustomed to it, but it was a minute, 30-second video. Now we had a system set in place, and this is what I can help doctors with. This video is hosted and it's set to private on YouTube. So it's not just out there for everyone to watch and learn from. It's so my team can copy and paste that, send it to the patient that signed the agreement. When that patient goes home that day, the evening that they signed the contract, they get this video that helps prepare them and remind them what to expect in 6 weeks. When they come back in 6 weeks and get braces on, guess what? They've got all sorts of rules. But guess what? They're also sitting there the entire time getting on braces, listening to the instructions. They start to glaze over. Things go over their head. Now they're thinking like, oh my God, what's my boyfriend going to say? Can I kiss my boyfriend with braces? They're not paying attention to the importance of hygiene and all that. Food you cannot eat. So there's another video that we've already pre-recorded that's going to go out to them either right after the appointment or later in the evening. So when these patients call, the reason we started doing this is we were sick of patients calling 3 days later like, oh, my teeth hurt. Remember we told you that a couple times. Now we're holding them accountable to be like, oh, remember you got the message? go back and check your text message. This is normal to have a wiggly canine. This is normal to feel this, things like that. So it really helped improve the communication between the team and the patient. And then, of course, it improved the compliance because they had these videos to go back and watch on. So the calls that we would get into the office that were like complaints or just, concerns from patients completely went down. In office experience, people came in fully prepared for a start appointment. Like, okay, I know it's only going to take an hour and I know it's not going to hurt, instead of that apprehensiveness. It always bothered me when patients would come into our office scared about their appointment, because it's like, I thought I did everything I could at that new patient consult. But the power of these videos really helped improve that.
It's really interesting because as I'm listening to you talk, I'm like, this can change the entire way we communicate with patients. And I know, look, we hire these companies to do confirmations and reminders and those types of things. There's nothing wrong with even having you film videos with your front desk you're obviously doing this. I'm assuming you're sending this manually to patients. You're not using some automated. So everything's manual anyway. Well, you can record a video. Hey, we're confirming your appointment for tomorrow. I don't think you have to say the time necessarily, but also you can say this is what to expect at your first visit when you come into the practice. So they already know, but it can be delivered in video format, which they're going to watch anyway because they want to see what you have to say. You would think that I would have thought of, or somebody would have thought of this from a communication perspective, but we're so hung up on manual or automated texting services. There's nothing unique about those. All they do is send a text. You can change the way you interact with your patients by doing something very similar for any type of patient communication.
Right. And think about it. We as consumers, everyday people, we're bombarded. I get text messages from the UPS. We've delivered your system, and it's just a bunch of words and text and numbers. Then Kohl's has a 7-day sale. Express has this sale, and you're constantly bombarded by all these text messages. So having another text message come in from the orthodontic office saying your appointment in big, long text heavy is at this time. If you cancel, people just stop listening and swipe out of those things. But when you get a video message, you're now grabbing their attention. So what they go to social media for, which is what? Short form video content and entertainment. They're also going to their cell phone and getting that from their text messages as well.
Got it. So I know there are a couple of other ways you help dental practices. So with the time, we only have a couple of minutes before we have to switch to the Q&A. So can you go over those other couple of things that, how you help dental practices?
Yeah, so I help them really refine and define their new patient process to really help get their offices to stand out and grab people's attention from the start. So I give them some tips and tricks on what can make that new patient phone call stand out, all the things you got to do before that new patient comes into the office, how to enhance that consult, and I carry that all the way through from progress to D-band day. I also help train treatment coordinators to really stand out and grab people's attention when it comes to pending clients. Gone are the days of just sending a generic email. Hi, just following up. I will never use those words. It's all about unique postcards that are fun and exciting, not stock images. I want something obnoxious. People love content that's humor and it can be relatable, right? Parodies are really big on that. So anything we can put into a visual, using their digital scans I don't want to give all my tips and tricks away from what I do with penning, but I can really help with that. Using props in the consult room and just having fun with visual aids is super important. I teach TCs how to do that when implementing different products or services into the patient's consult and things like that. There's all sorts of training videos I have. Those are available on my website under the services. I also help orthodontic companies. So when companies work behind the booth at conferences and they're just sitting there like caged animals, I can be their social media pumper upper, you can say, and they can sponsor me to go to the conference, and I the whole time am just their cheerleader and their ambassador to bring attention to their booth and bring attention to their products and services as well. There's all sorts of things. You guys will have to check out my website for more.
That's cool. And you have a couple of affiliates as well, correct?
Absolutely. I work with Kaleidoscope Digital Marketing. So a lot of people ask me all the time, like, oh, can you make our content and can you manage our social media? I don't have time in the day, nor do I get a high off of managing someone's social media. I get a natural high and really thrive on coming up with creative content ideas. But Kaleidoscope Digital Marketing, they help with website design, SEO services, social media services, digital marketing services. They're your people for sure. And I also want to tell people that they really have to learn and ask their patients, what can we do? What do you guys like to learn from? How do you want to be communicated to? And yes, Google reviews are great, but think about it. If you're a parent and you're shopping around and You're looking at different dental offices and orthodontic office. What do? You go to look at their Google. What are most Google reviews? They're very positive. And as a team and as a doctor and team member, you're learning from these Google reviews. What are they most like? Great office staff, clean office, great doctor, blah, 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 blah. Things that are like in the morning huddle when you review those reviews, what do? You pat yourself on the back and you're like, oh, this is great. Yeah, we are great, guys. Good. But are you truly as a business owner and as a doctor learning and pivoting from those reviews? Probably not. Are the patients themselves rating the reviews? No, because the parents are the ones with the Google account, not a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old. So that's where I recommend Avius. It's a patient survey system. It's a little tablet that you can have next to all the clinic chairs or in the reception room at checkout. And it's where patients, now kids love to be tech savvy, and it's an iPad, and it asks them, you can program it however you want. Avius is awesome to letting you program it with visuals and emojis and your own questions. You can ask the patient, what did you like about today's appointment? What didn't you like? Now, at the end of the day, all of these responses are getting emailed to the doctor, and the doctor can read through these, and it's the patients themselves that are giving their true, honest opinion, but it's all in disguise. There's no patient's name or Google review picture and things like that. They truly can learn from a patient's experience when a patient is prompted to ask those questions. The kids, if they say 14 kids in one day say, Sally was really rough with me, guess what? Those kids are going home complaining about Sally to the mom. The mom's not going to go on Google review and complain about assistant Sally. The mom's going to be like, that's just ortho, honey. Get over it. No, you have to learn from the patient's experience themselves, and the Avius patient survey is the way to do that.
Well, that's great. So let's switch gears. I want to get through at least a few of these questions. We're going to do our lightning round Q&A. So first question, what consumes your thoughts on a daily basis?
Content. That's all I do all day is think about off the wall content. There's times where I'm driving with my family and I'm like, wait, someone voice note this and give me my phone. And I come up with an idea. A stop sign might, inspire me and I have to say it. I'll constantly pull over, email myself. I have a pad of paper. Content is always on my mind.
What have you read online recently that has inspired you?
This is a tough question. This is silence. I should have my improv skills to be like, oh, you know what? This is what inspired me. So yes, I'm an improv actor. I take improv classes. I'm part of a short form improv group, but a new course just showed up and it's an actual casting director. He's a famous actor from LA that moved to Buffalo, and he just announced his acting course for TV and film. So now I'm taking that course and I read all about his website and about his background, and now I'm a student in his studio. So that's like one thing. That's what I drive for.
Who would you love to collaborate with, and what would you love to collaborate on?
The Harmon brothers. The Harmon brothers are the creators behind the Squatty Potty, Poopery, and the Purple Mattress. They do nothing but humor in their content. And I actually wrote to them saying, hey, I have no idea what this pitch is or my email really is about, but I love the way you guys create commercials for companies in a humorous way. That's what I do all day long. But I don't have the production company to do that, nor the team to do that. So whatever I can do to be part of your team, let me know. And one of the people contacted me, and now we're continuing to stay in contact. So that would be my dream goal, is to work with them. That or Saturday Night Live.
That's great. Who do you look to for advice or mentorship?
My husband, he is the one that is completely opposite of me. He's very creative, very artistic, but he's not crazy outgoing like myself, but he always puts me in my lane. So when my ideas are too off the wall, he's my voice of reason, is like, or he'll be like, nope, go for it. That's sexy. Everyone likes that. That's
great. If you were to write a book about yourself, what would you name it?
Noodleish. That is my nickname. That is my clown name. And that's the adjective I've always been described as. So people will randomly send me a picture and be like, oh my God, that lady's outfit is so noodleish. And it'll be like stripes with polka dot or off the wall necklace, you name it. So it would be that.
That's great. That's great. What was the first thing you wanted to be when you grew up?
What's funny is that I wanted to be an actress, and that was the security question on my first checking account. Security question when my checking account got hacked. They asked me that, and I was like, I don't know an actress, and they're like, ding, ding, ding. Are you an actress? I'm like, well, no, but I'm getting there. So I still got to strive for that goal.
That's good. Describe Mondays for you in one word.
Intriguing.
Okay. Let's see what else we got here. I think you answered this, but how do you capture and keep track of ideas?
Write them down and voice note and email myself.
Okay. Do you make a to-do list every day, weekly? When do you do it?
Every day, all day.
Okay. What book have you read multiple times, or what is your favorite book that you recommend other people read?
The Fred Factor. Super easy to read. And I actually encourage all doctors to give all team members and even new hires to read it. Very quick read. You can read it within a couple hours, if that. And it's to help excel in customer service and think outside the box on excelling in customer service.
It's called The Fred Factor, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. 2 last questions. What profession do you think is the most undervalued today?
Customer service.
Okay. And the last question, and this could be either business or personal. Okay. What is one subscription you could not live without?
Amazon.
That's good. A lot of people say that. So, Janelle, this was awesome content. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise. How can people reach out if they have any questions when they're listening to this podcast?
They can visit me on my website, theorthodonticinfluencer.com. My social media handles are on there and my cell phone number. So call, text, prank me, FaceTime me, you name it, I'm there.
Okay. Well, Janelle, this was awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. Guys, if you want to reach out to Janelle, she just gave her website. You can go check her out, find out all her social media channels, connect with her, see how she can help your practice. She has a couple of affiliates she talked about, Kaleidoscope and the feedback form. Obviously, I'm a Google review person, but I have used that feedback form in a hotel, an airport. So I'm familiar with it from that perspective. Remember to thank our sponsors, both Dental Intelligence and the doc sites, for their support. And remember, check out my events, Supercharge Your Dental Practice, Scottsdale, Arizona, September 27th and 28th. Go to superchargeyourdentalpractice.com and use the code RAVING to save $100 on registration. If you like the episode, please share it. Please tell your colleagues. If you know someone who can use Janelle's assistance, please recommend they reach out to Janelle. And remember, as I end every single one of my podcasts, your reputation matters. Until the next episode, Janelle, thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
Later.